Okay, today we are on lesson 8.1.4, which is about regular polygons and the angles inside and outside and how it relates to the number of sides that you have of that polygon, right? So in this diagram right here, where it says the number of sides and it connects to the measure of an interior angle and it connects to the measure of an exterior angle, they're all kind of related to each other, but it has to be a regular polygon, meaning that all the angles are the same and all the sides are the same length. So a couple of key things that you want to note is that typically when we talk about number of sides, it's the variable n, okay? And then the interior angle and exterior angle are supplementary. So an interior plus an exterior will equal to 180 because you create that exterior angle by extending the side out so that it connects to the interior and it makes a straight line, so they're linear pairs, okay? Furthermore, we have developed a nice formula a couple lessons ago for the sum of the interior angles, right? We take the number of sides minus 2 times 180, and now that's the whole sum. That's adding up all the angles. If you want each interior angle, you then take that and divide by n, right? So that's your interior angle. For the exterior angle, it's a lot easier actually. You take 360 because it's a full circle and divide by how many angles you have. So that is for the exterior angle, right? So this is the interior angle and this is the exterior angle, right? And if you want to, you can do some algebra. If you add these two up, it will actually equal to 180. So it's actually really cool. Okay, so knowing that, how can we figure out all these questions that are asking of us? So let's tackle it one by one, right? If you know the number of sides of a regular polygon, how can you find the measure of an interior angle directly? Find the measurement of an interior angle of a 15-agon. So how do you find an angle directly? Well, using this formula we have. So we take, to answer that kind of shortly, you take the sum and you divide by the number of sides, right? And the sum we know is that n minus 2 times 180, and then you divide by how many sides you have. So what is the measurement of a 15-agon? Well, we go 15 minus 2 times 180. All right, so let's do that. My handy dandy calculator, right? So 15 minus 2 is 13 times 180, and that gives me 2,340. And now you divide by 15 because there's 15 angles, and you will get each interior angle to measure 156 degrees. Okay. All right, so you could break up the steps or you can do it all at once, but I like to break it up because then I remember to find the sum first and divide by the number of angles and sides, okay? All right, if you know the number of sides of a regular polygon, how can you find the measure of an exterior angle directly? Well, we have, again, the handy dandy formula that is to take 360 divided by number of sides. That's the exterior angle, each exterior angle. Okay, find the measurements of an exterior angle of a tenagon, of a decagon, right? So for a decagon, you take 360 divided by 10, then each angle measures 36 degrees. So that's two parts of the question. Okay, all right. What if you know the measure of an interior angle of a regular polygon is 162 degrees? How many sides must the polygon have? Okay, now this is a little trickier. We got to work backwards. We're going to take our formula because we know that this is each interior angle. So the formula was n minus 2 times 180 divided by how many sides the polygon has, right? And we know the measurement is 162. Okay, so first step I would suggest you to do, let's get rid of that n on the bottom. It's kind of annoying, right? Because it's making a fraction there. Okay, so now that makes it a little bit easier to work with. I have n minus 2 times 180, and I have 162n. The next thing to remind yourself is even if the 180 is in the back, you can actually distribute it, right? Because it's still multiplying by the same thing. So if you distribute that, you get 180n minus 2 times 180 is 360 to equal 162n. Okay, now you notice there's two n's. There's an n on both sides. So let's subtract 180n. I know I typically want my variable to be positive, but in this case, I don't really have a choice. So let's go ahead and subtract the 180n on both sides. And I would get a negative. This is a trick. It has to be negative. I have a negative 360 and a 162 minus 180. That gives me a negative 18. They both need to be negative because then you'll get a positive answer, right? So let's divide by 18 on both sides. And this n equals 20. So 20 sides. This is a, not a icosagon, I think. That's a 20-sided shape, all right? Okay, if the measure of an exterior angle is 15 degrees, how many sides does it have? What is the measure of an interior angle? Okay, so we can again use our formula. Exterior angle is 360 divided by n, and we know that gives me 15. Okay, all right, so we're solving for n. Let's multiply n on both sides to get that n out of the fraction. And I get 360 equals 15n. So then the other step now is to divide by 15. So 360 divided by 15, I get n equals 24. So 24 sides. What is the measure of an interior angle? You actually don't need to go through all the steps. Remember, the interior angle and the exterior angle are supplementary. So you take the interior angle and add it to the 15 to get 180. So you simply take 180 minus 15, you get 165, and that's the measure of an interior angle for a 24-sided shape. Okay? All right. Suppose a regular polygon has an interior angle measuring 120. Find a number of sides using two different strategies. Okay, so the first strategy would be to, again, use our formula. So we go n minus 2 times 180 divided by n is equal to 120. Okay, and then I would do the same thing as I did before. I multiply both sides by n to get rid of that fraction there. And I get n minus 2 times 180 to get 120n. Right? And I distribute the 180 so that I can have the parentheses not here. So I get 180n minus 360 equals 120n. All right, let's subtract the 180. Again, remember, you're supposed to get negative answers here, right? So negative 360 equals negative 60n, which is awesome. That's exactly what I want. All right, so then I divide by negative 60 on both sides. So I get n equals 6. So that's 6 sides, right? So that's one way. There's definitely multiple ways. So the other way that I can think of is, okay, well, I have the interior angle 120. So I must know the exterior angle. I take 180 minus 120 to get the exterior angle. So this is the exterior angle. So then I can use the formula exterior angle 360 over n equals 60. And for me, this may be a little easier because I feel like there's less steps here, but it's really kind of up to you, okay? So you get 360 equals 60n. And then of course, the last step here would be divide by 60 on both sides. And you should get exactly the same, n equals 6. So whichever way you approach it, I don't think there's a preference, but you get the same answer, okay? All right, moving on. I get the next problem. Use your knowledge of polygon to answer the questions below. How many sides does a polygon have if the sum of the measure is 1980 or if the sum is 900? So we're not looking for the interior angle, we're just looking for the full sum. So you don't have to use the divided by n, you can just use this formula, n minus 2 times 180, right? That's the sum of the angles. So sum of the interior angles. So let's go ahead and use that instead of equal to 1980. And the beautiful thing about this is that you don't have to distribute the 180. You can actually start by dividing it out. So you don't have to work with such big numbers, okay? So you get n minus 2 equals, okay, what's 1980 divided by 180? That will give me 11. Okay. Then you add 2 on both sides, right? So you take your numbers and add 2 on both sides. So you get n equals 13. So 13 sides has a sum of 1980 degrees. Okay, what about 900? Same method. N minus 2 times 180 equals 900. Right, so I'm going to divide by 180 really quickly. That gives me n minus 2 equals 7. Oh, sorry, 5, not 7. Apologies, it's 5. I was jumping the gun because I knew the answer finally would be 7. So n equals 7. So 7 sides has a sum of 900 degrees. Okay, remember you got to read what is asked of you. If it's asking for each interior angle, you then divide it by n. If it's just asking for the sum, you don't need to divide by n. Okay. If the exterior angle of a regular polygon is 90 degrees, how many sides does it have? What's another name for this shape? All right, so exterior angle is 90 degrees. So formula is 360 divided by n equals 90, right? And then we multiply by n on both sides to get rid of that fraction. Multiply by n on both sides. So that gives me 360 equals 90n. And if I divide by 90 on both sides, I get a really nice answer of n equals 4. So how many sides does it have? It has 4 sides. what's a shape that is four-sided? Well, four-sided is quadrilateral, but now I have congruent angles and congruent sides, so this must be a square, right? Because if it has all four angles the same, then it's 90-degree angles, because it has to have 90 degrees, right? 365 by 4 is 90. Okay. All right. Each interior angle of a regular pentagon has the measure 2x plus 4. What is x? Well, let's figure out what each interior angle of a pentagon must measure up, right? So if you recall, you can use the formula, or you can use your chart, or you know that a pentagon measures adds up to 540, right? So you take 540 divided by 5 angles. So you know that each interior angle must equal to 108 degrees for a pentagon. Now you take that 108 and set it equal to the formula, the expression 2x plus 4 here that we need to solve for the x. All right, now this is algebra. Subtract 4 on both sides. Get 104 equals 2x divided by 2. So your x equals 52. And it just says what is x. So our job is done. We found x. Okay. All right. The measure of 4 of the exterior angles of a pentagon are 57, 74, 56, and 66. What is the measure of a remaining angle? Remember, exterior angles must add up to 360. So let's add up what we have here. 57 plus 74 plus 56 plus 66 plus this unknown angle we have equals 360, right? So 57 plus 74 plus 56 plus 66. I have 253 here. So I subtract it from 360. I get the missing angle to be 107. So the remaining angle is 107 degrees. Okay. All right. Last one. Find the sum of the interior angles of an 11-agon. Doesn't matter if it's regular or not. So the interior angle is n minus 2 times 180, right? The sum of the interior angles. So we take 11 minus 2 times 180. That gives me 9 times 180. So the sum must be 1620 degrees. Does it matter if it's regular or not? No. All 11-agon have the same sum. How do I know that? Well, because think about something small like a triangle, right? A scalene triangle measures 180, an equilateral triangle measures 180, a right triangle measures 180. So no matter what kind of a triangle it still measures 180. So if that's true for something small like that, it's also true. It's also true for quadrilaterals. And if you kind of keep going, you will see that if it's true for every single case, it is true for 11-agon as well. Okay. All right. That's it for this lesson, I believe. Let me check. Yep, we are done.